Up next on U.S. Bank Business Watch, presented by the Business Courier, the lure of Cincinnati is proving quite lucrative for Medicheck. Paying tribute to past and present revolutionaries in a most unusual but delicious way. And a look inside the more welcoming and nourishing lobby at the Contemporary Arts Center. U.S. Bank Business Watch is next. Good morning and welcome to U.S. Bank Business Watch. I'm Peg Rasconi. On the Business Courier front page centerpiece this week, a startup success story. And one of the reasons, the Cincinnati Lifeline, how a move from New York to Cincinnati gave Medicheck the best chance for success. Founder and CEO Jeffrey Shepard moved from New York City to Cincinnati in 2012 and started the company that reminds seniors when to take their medication. He and his business partner received more than $100,000 from a Cincinnati accelerator to build an app. Problem was, apps aren't intuitive for seniors and they couldn't use it. They set their minds to bridging that technology gap. They did, and then brought on more staff, including a pharmacist.
A lot of medication adherence is about taking the proper medication at the right time and understanding all the dynamics that go into that. So the pharmacy degree and understanding that aspect of the business is going to be very beneficial.
3 years after Shepard and his team reworked Medicheck, the tablet is being used in pilot programs by the giant Cincinnati hospital groups Mercy Health and TriHealth.
Medicheck's a very fast-growing company, and we continue to grow. We're starting to bring our product into the national marketplace, launching our product now in Florida and some other states down in the south, mostly on the East Coast. But we're looking to do a national expansion later this year.
Shepard, in large part, credits the Cincinnati startup infrastructure for Medicheck's success. For more on the Medicheck Cincinnati success story, be sure to read the full story in the print edition. Well, how about some high-tech toothbrushing? Procter & Gamble Company says the free app that connects its $159 electric toothbrush with smartphones via Bluetooth technology has been downloaded nearly 300,000 times since it was launched a year ago. But that doesn't mean that many people bought the pricey toothbrush. P&G says even people who prefer old-fashioned manual brushes might be using the app to time their cleaning. The app enables a smartphone with Bluetooth 4.0 to display a timer which indicates the minutes and seconds brushed. The app also records the data, allowing users to track daily, weekly, and monthly statistics. IT consulting firms are in the spotlight in the Business Courier list section this week. Stephen Power is managing partner of Round Tower Technologies, the fourth largest IT consulting firm in the tri-state. Power worked for a Boston-based Fortune 500 company for a decade before the entrepreneurial bug bit him, and he co-founded Round Tower Technologies. In 2007, the company has exploded since then, and Power says it's because they've stayed true to their business plan.
Originally, we decided to go with a very technical model. Those who know Round Tower know that of our 140 employees, we only have 28 salespeople. So, kind of took that system integrator model and flipped it on its head.
In January, Round Tower was named to the Forbes list of America's most promising companies. A former Findlay Market food vendor is hoping to pay tribute to revolutionaries through his menu. Revolution Rotisserie and Bar is now open on Race Street in Over the Rhine. The menu is centered on rotisserie chicken, and he named sandwiches for heroes of the American Revolution. But the owner decided to take a larger look at people who are doing revolutionary things.
I decided that I wanted to highlight a lot of them in my menu here, and that's really what we're doing. You know, we have people from Muhammad Ali, who's a punch cocktail, to Harriet Tubman or Nelson Mandela, for example.
The restaurant also features punch-centric craft cocktails. For a further look inside the restaurant and a look at the menu, you can visit the Business Courier website. The first residents of a new luxury apartment building in Oakley are now moving in. One Rookwood includes 127 units and is located on Edwards Road near Rookwood Shops and Restaurants. The 1- and 2-bedroom apartments are 50% leased and range in price from $1,200 to nearly $2,400 a month.
We went above and beyond kind of the market, wanted to make sure we delivered a product that we were satisfied with and happy with. You know, we figured we're on this for a long time, so the fit and finishes have been fantastic, both in the rooms and also in the amenities of the fitness facility, the club room, and then the pool.
And one unique amenity includes a playground for dogs. Gorilla Glue Company is moving its operations, including the company's headquarters, out of Madisonville and into Sharonville. This family-owned company makes adhesives, moisturizers, and tools. The company purchased more than 1 million square foot Gateway 75 building on Kemper Road. The company plans to consolidate its operations at the building in the next 12 to 18 months. It has no immediate plans for its current buildings on Red Bank Road. An economist says this is finally the year that Greater Cincinnati will top the milestone of its pre-recession jobs peak set way back in 2007. Stu Hoffman is PNC Financial Service Group's Pittsburgh-based economist. Cincinnati had just over 1 million jobs at the end of 2014. That's only a few thousand off its peak at the end of 2007. According to Hoffman, who was recently in town for an economic outlook conference. Hoffman is predicting Greater Cincinnati will add about 20,000 jobs in 2015. There is a negative side, however. Hoffman said Cincinnati has been slower to come back than the nation as a whole. The Contemporary Arts Center in downtown Cincinnati revealed its new look yesterday. The Business Courier got an early look inside the $1 million renovation of the lobby at 6th and Walnut Streets. CAC Director Rafaela Plato said the previous space was cold and institutional, and she envisioned creating a welcoming space with color and energy. The project involved moving the museum's welcome desk and gift shop, adding art installations, and constructing new cafe space that would complement, not compete with, nearby restaurants.
So we felt that we wanted to offer more of a cafe house atmosphere and really focus on breakfast and lunch and then little treats in the evening. But we didn't want to be a full-fledged restaurant. We wanted to create an environment where people can, again, as I said earlier, just get a cup of coffee, sit for 2 hours, see an exhibition, then come down here, contemplate what they've just experienced.
Collective Espresso, which has locations in Over the Rhine and North Side, will run Collective CAC. The cafe will offer the coffee for which Collective Espresso has become known, along with select beer and wine, wholesome breakfast and lunch options, and desserts. And congratulations to the winners of the Business Courier's 6th Annual Green Business Awards. The Sharonville Convention Center was the site for this year's program, created in partnership with the U.S. Green Business Council's Cincinnati chapter. It honored 39 green projects in the areas of advocacy, building practice, and products or services. From those 4 categories, 14 winners were announced at the event.
It's all about green, it's all about sustainability and protecting our environment. Winners range from everywhere that have used solar panels to conserve energy to the marathon that takes all their waste and goes into compost, as well as some companies that even pay their employees not to drive to work.
For profiles on all of the winners, be sure to visit the Business Courier website, and congratulations to U.S. Bank, selected as one of the winners for a very successful and innovative composting project. Up next on U.S. Bank Business Watch, a North Side bar known for its burgers has new owners with musical roots. And what's your take on the future of the streetcar? A Business Courier commentary is getting a lot of attention. Some news now that's getting a lot of attention on Business Courier's social media and website. 2 Cincinnati musicians have taken over hamburger joint Mayday in Northside. The restaurant, once known as a concert venue, went up for sale in November. The new owners are Stuart McKenzie and John Weiner. The 2 have played in many local rock bands and played together in the band the Cincinnati Royals. They plan to put more emphasis on the live music aspect of the bar. The founders of Cincinnati Bell's fast-growing cybersecurity business have split off to create their own company. Brian Minnick and three co-founders led the spin-out of what's now Morphic Inc. Minnick says they've been building the business for the last 18 months, and he says it has the potential to grow nationally and even internationally. A commentary about the streetcar by reporter Chris Wetterick is getting a lot of attention on the Business Courier website. Wetterick's focus is on the need to plan for future development of the line. Be sure to check out his thoughts online. The Greater Cincinnati Foundation has lured away a top executive from another Cincinnati area nonprofit to succeed its retiring CEO, Kathy Merchant. Ellen Katz is the new chief executive for the GCF, one of the largest community foundations in the U.S. with assets of more than $540 million. She joins the organization from the Children's Home of Cincinnati, where she was president and CEO since 2005. Real estate developer Ray Schneider's plan to build a $25 million upscale apartment complex on the site of the old Oakley Drive-In in Madisonville received a key approval. The Cincinnati Planning Commission voted unanimously to approve the changing permitted office use to residential use. The first phase would include 120 apartments, 12 townhouses, and a 233-space parking garage. It should be ready for summer of 2016. The U.S. Bank Economic 360 segment this morning keys in on another U.S. Bank customer who knows a lot about the construction industry. David Spalding is general manager of the Cincinnati office for Turner Construction Company. He joins Business Watch producer Kelly Leon in the studio this morning. David and Kelly.
Thanks, Peg. Dave, thanks for being here this morning.
Morning.
This is a huge year in the construction industry, especially for Turner. What are some of the projects that you have coming on?
It is. I think in 2015 we see a lot of projects like the NKU Health Innovation Center that's been approved by the state. Here in Cincinnati Museum Center, there's been a lot of talk and the architects' RFQs out, so that'll be a big project coming up.
Oh, the Union Terminal.
Yes.
Yeah. And healthcare and higher ed seem to be really hot industries right now for you.
Yeah, healthcare and higher ed for the last several years have been a great industry. They continue to build. And I think that's typically a good barometer of where the economy is going when those type of industries keep building. So at UC getting to redo Nippert Stadium.
Oh, yeah.
And St. Elizabeth's growing and they're about ready to do another medical office building. And you see all of the medical office buildings up and down 71 and 75, so that's good for the industry.
Yeah, and you mentioned the NKU project too.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit more about that one.
So NKU is building a health innovation center similar to their informatics building, which is going to be the future of healthcare with information and connecting that to the other schools at NKU.
Okay. What about challenges right now in the construction industry? What are you seeing?
Sure. I think one of the biggest challenges, and it's probably in a lot of industries, but right now in construction, is probably getting skilled workers. And as you look over the next couple of years, we've got a lot of skilled tradesmen that they're going to retire. So for every 4 that retire, probably only 1 person is going into the industry. So for the future, with all of those trades and the shortages, it drives costs and trying to get that and get people and get them a good information on the industry. It's a high-paying, long-lasting career, and trying to get people to focus on that in the industry is a big deal.
How are you doing that? Are there any plans to build that pool of workers?
Sure. We at Turner, we do something we call the Turner School of Construction Management, where we meet with emerging businesses, minorities, and women to teach them about the industry. We also have partnerships with NKU and the University of Cincinnati. We used to and have worked with Cincinnati State trying to drive the pipelines from local high schools that have STEM programs to drive them into the universities and give them an opportunity to understand what engineering and architecture and construction management can do and what the careers are like.
Now this is a competitive market for construction companies. Do you guys work together in terms of something like that, or?
Sure, it's a very competitive market right now, especially you see all of the buildings and the cranes up in Cincinnati, which drives competition from out of the local market in as well, which is good for Cincinnati. We partner with a lot of minority firms across the city to help build that capacity as well, and typically on some big projects you'll joint venture with people.
Okay, and you guys are great community partners, Turner and Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that and why that's important to you.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things about building in the city is if you're not building the community as well, you're not really doing your job. So we created several years ago in the recession something called Paint the Town Blue, and as opposed to having a Christmas party, we took all of our staff and gave them the day off, and during that time off, basically we went out and everyone did community involvement projects, working with Redwood or Talbot House or Brighton Center or the Children's Law Center to paint, grow, do things for them. And we continue that. So this is going to be our 6th year doing it. We typically do it right before our Christmas party, around the Christmas time where everyone's in the greatest need.
Nice.
We also, throughout the year, team with and help grow a lot of the minority partners in the community. Over the last 4 years, we've actually averaged around $75 million worth of work to minority and women-owned businesses in the city of Cincinnati.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, thanks for being a great community
Thank
partner.
you.
Thanks for being part of U.S. Bank, and thanks for being here this morning.
Thank you very much.
All right, Peg, back to you.
All right, thanks, Kelly and David. Well, still to come on U.S. Bank Business Watch. What's up with Delta? A look at where CVG stands as a Delta hub amid word the airline is cutting more flights. And congratulations to Claire Zlatic-Blankmeyer, director of the high school service learning program at the Mayerson Foundation, another 40 under 40 honoree. In this morning's Business Insight, Delta Airlines is again cutting or reducing the frequency of flights to more than a dozen cities from Cincinnati Northern Kentucky International Airport. Delta's peak day departures from CVG will drop from 107 to 86, and it will fly to 36 cities. The changes are part of Delta's switch away from fuel-inefficient 50-seat regional aircraft to larger ones. So far in 2015, Delta has ended service from CVG to San Diego, New Orleans, Fort Myers, and Jacksonville, Florida, and Madison, Wisconsin. Does this mean CVG's status as the 6th largest Delta hub is in jeopardy? Business Courier reporter Chris Wetterick took a deep dive into this story and what it means for travelers. He's with editor Rob Dahlmeyer in the studio. Gentlemen.
Thanks very much. And Chris, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Seems like it's the same old song for Delta over the last 4, 5, 6 years. But why now? Why are they reducing flights now?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. One is, well, the main reason is that they're trying to get rid of these 50, not get rid of, but reduce the number of 50-seat regional jets they are using. Those are not very fuel efficient. They're expensive to fly. It's not like the heyday of Comair when they could, use these jets and fly to every little city in the country and do it for cheap because gas or oil was $20 a barrel. They can't do that anymore, so they need to phase these jets out, use bigger jets that are more profitable to do. They also have some crewing issues. Related to those 50-seat jets, there's basically not enough people to staff all of these airports with these jets. So those are the two main reasons for this happening.
So we're still considered a hub for Delta. Now, once upon a time, CVG was Delta's 2nd largest hub, just behind Atlanta, which is where Delta's based. Now we're the smallest hub.
Right.
Some would even be surprised that we're still considered a hub, but we are.
Yeah.
But what's the future of Cincinnati as a hub status, and why? And is it even important to be a hub?
Well, I think the business community thinks it's important because they can still get to a lot of these cities that Cincinnati wouldn't have. I mean, you look at United, you look at American, they fly out of Cincinnati, but they only fly to their hub cities,
right.
In Houston or Chicago or whatever. If Delta dehubbed Cincinnati, we would kind of be facing the same situation. They would fly to Atlanta, they would fly to Salt Lake City, they would fly to Detroit. But they wouldn't fly to some of these destinations like Richmond, Virginia, where the flights are being reduced. So we are still a hub. We're still going to places we wouldn't have otherwise. I don't think anybody would be surprised if we were dehubbed in the future. But Delta officials and CVG officials emphasize that is not what's happening. That's not why these changes were made.
Now you took a look at some ticket prices and flights recently when you were doing this story. What are some of the things that you saw?
Right. We tried to look at the practical effect of this on the business traveler. And what we found was actually that a lot of these cities rebounded later in the year. We looked at 4 different weeks throughout the period of the year, throughout the seasons. We found in November that the number of flights available for sale went back up. Now that can change, just like the airline prices. They fluctuate, pretty rapidly. But I think there is some hope that that some of these rebound. Really, the cuts are centered around the summer and in the low travel periods. We also found that, for instance, Around July 4th, around Labor Day, there were basically no direct flights still out of these cities. So it seems like they're really, taking them out of the circulation when there's not a lot of business travel going on.
Right, so they really are focused on. I know there are a lot of business people in this town that have a ton of frequent flyer miles and are really big in this sort of medallion standing with them.
Yeah.
Last question for you: when Delta shrinks and shrinks, that opens up some gates and some flights for some other people. What's happening there?
Yeah, I mean, it's not so much in their particular part of the airport. They have a lease on that runs through 2020, but the airport has plenty of room for low-cost carriers like Allegiant and Frontier, which have come in and they've made an aggressive move at CVG. There's a lot of vacation destinations you can get to for relatively cheap now. I was on a flight to New Orleans last week. The plane was full, both going and coming from Cincinnati to New Orleans, so I think they're doing pretty well.
Well, that's great to hear. And once upon a time, Delta would just lower their prices and kick these airlines like Allegiant, Frontier out. That's not happening this time around.
It's not happening this time around, no. I mean, not yet anyway. It's interesting, the New Orleans flight, for instance, Delta ended its direct flights to New Orleans, and Allegiant has a twice-a-week flight. So it's not the same level of service. Delta used to fly to New Orleans every day.
Right.
But if you need to get to New Orleans for vacation, you can still do it.
You can still do it direct. Thank you very much for being here.
You're welcome.
And back to you.
All right, thanks, Rob and Chris. And thank you for joining us this morning for U.S. Bank Business Watch. We'll be back next Sunday and every Sunday morning at 6:30 here on Local 12 and 10 a.m. on the CW. For more business news all week long, you can visit the Business Courier online and sign up for daily emails and follow on Twitter and Facebook. The address is cincinnatibusinesscourier.com. I'm Peg Rasconi. Have a great Sunday.